Plurvix 3 rules! The most popular sport is a version of hide and seek, which is basically bounty hunting, so that means I'm a cool jock here, and you nerds better not forget it.
I am Grant from Screamer. Yep, I got some of the Valentine stuff up.
Nice.
I had to show my solar love somehow. It's great to see you both again. Thomas, I'd actually like to start with you. One of the big things that came out of the Valentine special is that Terry and Corvo are now married, and we get to see some of that coming into season 5. What is it like exploring that side of the relationship, even though they obviously had sort of a romantic relationship before?
Yeah. Well, it's just the whole trajectory of that storyline has been interesting, because I think we start with season 1. It's not really a thing, you know. It's like it kind of, there's like these little bits and pieces, and then basically it was a sort of this hidden discussion between the audience and the writers of being like, the audience being like, are they lovers? We like it. And the writers be like, you want them to be? Okay, well, maybe they could be. And then it's sort of like manifested now in like very obvious romance, and now like domestication of their romance. I don't know. I think there's a lot more to explore with now the unofficial married dynamic, and that's certainly being, we're recording some season 6 stuff, and that is present, which is fun, and even greater teaser.
I love hearing that, and I was so glad when the season 6 news came at Comic-Con. I was like, yes, keep this show going for a long time. I love that. Nice. And so, Sean, I will turn back to you. Yumulak has a very interesting arc this season in that he learns more about his past with the family, but he also gets to learn more about himself and his bounty hunting. What is it like exploring some of those aspects in comparison to prior seasons where he's really just going along with the family's madness?
Oh, it was fun for recording, because they had me doing a lot of crazy different things. I got to do an accent, the Irish accent and stuff, and then I thought it was just cool, like 5 seasons in, to find out what my real role is on the team. That it just like, I just think that's really exciting, and there's a lot of cool storylines of kind of exploring some more depth of Yumulak. So it was great. I really enjoyed this season.
So do you think then that that's going, I mean, obviously you guys can't spoil season 6 for me, but is that going to sort of grow even bigger in season 6 with Yumulak finding a new sort of dynamic in the team now that he's sort of trying to move away from being the pupa's food?
You know, I'm trying to think of where it heads off, but it definitely plays a part, because I think I'm just remembering scenes that I can't say. So, but it does. I can't say, but I think it does. I'm pretty sure it does.
That's totally fine. I'm not looking to get anybody in trouble. And I mean, as much as I love to know more, I also love the surprise of every season. So I will patiently wait for it. And Thomas, I will turn back to you. In Terry's home life, we also see him start to sort of stray away from what the conventional sort of home partner would be. I love the cleaning episode in particular, in which he's trying to figure out how to sort of win back Corvo's love. What is it like, you know, I mean, obviously Terry's been crazy this entire show, but from a performance side, what is it like diving into that angle of Terry in particular in comparison to prior seasons?
I mean, technically, I don't want to sound dismissive or anything, but it's the note we always get when we're in the booth is faster and louder, faster, more energy, right? So it's like, it's always going to be like, you know, like the same thing. It's got a style. But we just get another section of jokes and life experience to draw on, you know? It's just an additional thing. Now we get to basically infuse just a sprinkling of like everybody loves Raymond into solar opposites. You know, just like we we put it through the solar opposites processor, and out it comes a little bit more absurd and sci-fi.
So I'd actually love to follow up on that and hear from both of you, because at the same time, even in episode 1, you guys have to literally fight back from being extra for Corvo's sake to stay on this planet. And I'd love to hear, you get the note of faster and louder, but for that episode, I'd love to hear from you both. What is it then like having to sort of restrain, but also obviously go with the script of, well, they're not going to fully follow Corvo's no extra note, but they're going to try.
I remember like there was kind of like with the director we were talking about it, there was just kind of like there was like a certain like it was still like elevate yourself, but then kind of like make it kind of like sadder or depress it a little bit or something. And if I remember correctly, but it's still fast.
Yeah,
Thomas, how about for you?
I'm having a hard time remembering. It's like I'm having a hard time remembering what happened like a year and a half ago in a sound booth. I get reminded when I see it. That's why I love watching the shows, because it's kind of like I have a little gerbil memory, and I'm like, I forget that even happened, and then I watch it again, and I was like, oh, this show's funny. Look how good this show is. So I haven't seen it yet. It's like I almost need to see it before, but yeah.
I mean, time flies. It's easy to forget.
I'm so sorry. That's such a lame answer. I'm sorry.
No, it's all good. Again, I totally understand it. And I see I'm almost out of time. So before I let you guys both go, this season, I mean, each season does something new and bombastic with the wall. And this season, we actually see Yumulak and Jesse sort of acknowledge, where did everybody go? And Terry comes close to almost seeing the backyard. And I'm curious for you both, do you guys want to see more of the Solars sort of re-interacting with the wall backyard going into the future?
I mean, personally, I love the wall storyline so much that if I could be a part of it in a more substantial way, I would love to. Outside of like, sometimes I'll voice like a prison guard who's like, oh, this way, whatever. But part of what makes the wall so fun is that it's like a completely separate tiny adventure that's happening away from everything else. That's kind of what's kind of special about it, is that it's like there's all these other things happening, and unbeknownst to anyone, a struggle between good and evil is occurring on the grandest scale. So maybe I think at some point, if we're so lucky that the show goes, it's like one of these staple shows that goes 30 seasons or something, right? Like probably, season 25, they're like, look, we got to break the apples. We got to bring these guys into the wall, and it's a crossover episode. And they're like, oh, wow, we didn't realize how bad you had it here. Anyway, but I think if they can prolong that as much as they can, they should, personally. Sean?
Well, thank you, Don. I think, I think it's like, it's funny because Yumulak, he's like, him and Jesse kind of put them all on the wall and everything. And it's funny how little they think about them all the time. And I would be curious. I would just be curious how it would play out. Like, I do think I like Thomas's idea of like making, like prolonging it, but I'm kind of impatient. I kind of want to just see like what kind of mayhem that would cause. Like if it just like it was like it could be like although it could have like an Avengers Endgame effect where it would just be like dun dun dun. I don't know. I want to see it happen best, I guess.
I think it would create some really fun mayhem. I think it would be interesting to see if the Solars join them to get their comeuppance for putting them all on the wall, or if maybe they find a way to sort of forgive each other. But regardless of what comes of that, I look forward to keeping the word alive and getting it out there for season 5, guys. This season just continues to be so much fun. I binge watched it all right before this interview and I loved it. So thank you guys so much for taking the time. I so greatly appreciate it.
Thanks, Grant.
Gonna do a Blue Man Group inspired performance of the Clarvixian Planetary Anthem.
No, that's too extra. Also, why are you red?
Yeah, since I'm blue already, I went with the opposite color on the spectrum.